Composition final, multiple choice. Identify the choice that best completes the statement or answers the question. Writing applications. Directions. Read the following essay and answer the questions that follow. The numbers in parentheses are used in the questions. Save Hill House. Are you familiar with that big old house on the hilltop near Beecher and Main Streets? That's Hill House, a home for mentally challenged adults. Yesterday, our local newspaper, the Journal Express, printed an article about closing Hill House. It said that Hill House needs more than $100,000 worth of repairs, and there isn't enough money available to get them done. The city wants to close Hill House and tear the building down. Is closing it the best way to solve the problem? No. The best solution is to pull together as a community and keep Hill House open. First, keeping Hill House open is very important to the people who live and work there. If Hill House shuts down, 26 residents will need to find new homes and 7 staff members will lose their jobs. Half of the adults at Hill House have lived there for 5 years or more. For some, it's the only place they have lived since leaving their parents' homes. When I volunteered at Hill House, I met a man named John. He is 34 and has been at Hill House since he was 18. John has no family, and he thinks of himself as the official caretaker. He is always the first one to welcome a new resident and to make sure that he or she feels like a part of the Hill House family. John says that he would make the repairs by himself if he knew how. Moving from Hill House would mean that people like John would have to adjust not only to a new home, but to new friends, new caretakers, a new neighborhood, and maybe even a new city. A second and best reason to keep Hill House open is to show that our community cares for its people. If we all get together and conduct fundraisers, organize volunteer efforts, and donate time and money, it will show that our city is a great place to live and that we look out for each other. We can ask businesses to donate materials, and citizens can donate time to help fix things up. You can be sure that the people of Hill House would want to help us if we needed them. So let's get busy and help them with what they need. Some people think that the residents of Hill House should move to Hawthorne Manor, which is more like a nursing home. These people don't understand that the residents don't need daily nursing care. They can do a lot by themselves. Let's help them have some independence and keep their family together. Tearing down the house and breaking apart that special family can't be a good thing. We need to pull together as a community and keep Hill House open. We can all find ways to help with the repairs so that the residents won't need to move and the staff won't lose their jobs. Maybe Hill House can stay open if it is declared a historical landmark. Get involved and help out. Number 1. Sentence 9 is known as A. Showstopper, B. Thesis statement, C. Restatement of thesis, or D. Call to action. Number 2. Sentence 1 is identified as the A. Introduction, B. Position statement, C. Call to action, or D. Attention getter. Number 3. The paragraph that starts with sentence 3 gives A. A threat to those who want to shut it down, B. An ultimatum, a choice, C. The first reason to keep the building open, or D. A call to action to force people to help. Number 4. The paragraph that starts with sentence 3 uses blank to help accomplish its goal. A. Statistics, B. Logical fallacies, C. Begging, or D. Humor. Number 5. The paragraph that begins with sentence 5 offers blank. A. Statistics, B. Facts, C. Humor, Or D, ways to accomplish the goal? Number 6. Sentence 8 simply A, tells a story, B, is a topic sentence, C, restates the thesis, or D, is the restatement of the attention getter? Number 7. Sentence 3 can be called an blank thesis statement, B, topic sentence, C, attention getter, or D, conclusion? Number 8. Which sentence is the actual thesis statement on this paper? A, sentence 7, B, sentence 9, C, sentence 2, or D, sentence 1? Number 9. Sentence 4 is an example of a blank. A, personal example, B, fact, C, detail, or D, statistic? Number 10. The sentence that supplies a reason to keep the building open is A, sentence 1, B, sentence 7, C, sentence 2, or D, sentence 5? Number 11. Sentence 6 gives A, the third reason that supports the thesis, B, the opposition's belief, C, the conclusion, or D, no help to this paper? Number 12. Sentence 7 actually blanks sentence 6. A, helps, B, disproves, C, supports, or D, provides an example of? Number 13. This paper blank. A, is a narrative essay, B, is a descriptive essay, C, tells the current situation with Hill House, or D, tries to convince people to shut down the house? Directions. Read the passage below and answer the questions that follow. A memorable vacation. The best vacation I ever had was a bicycle camping trip. It was 10 days and nights spent totally out of doors. My valuables, a map and toolkit, were stowed at my fingertips in a small red handlebar bag. The rest of my possessions were crammed into 2 larger bags slung over my rear wheel, with a sleeping bag and tent strapped on top. I traveled with one companion. We kept to winding, less traveled roads as much as possible, meandering along the coast. There was no hurry. There was no need to find the shortest route to somewhere. The journey itself was the whole point of the vacation. My cousin spends hundreds of dollars on plane tickets every time he takes a vacation. I cannot imagine a more delightful way to travel. You're so close to the ground. On a bike, you see everything. You're not in the cocoon of a car, rushing by things. You're part of things. You see wildflowers, chipmunks, butterflies. You hear birdsong and sails flapping in the breeze. You enjoy the weather. At night, after you've stopped and set up camp, you feel your muscles. You feel odd walking. Pedaling has come to feel more natural. Number 14. What kind of passage is this? A, expository, B, response to literature, C, persuasive, or D, personal narrative? Number 15. Which sentence is not relevant and should be removed from the passage? A, sentence 5, B, sentence 9, C, sentence 10, or D, sentence 17? Number 16. Which detail sentence could be best inserted after sentence 15? A, of course, sometimes it might snow or rain. B, you feel the delicious warmth of the sun in the early morning and the welcome cool of the shade on hot afternoons. C, I disliked the days that were hot and humid, but my friend didn't mind at all. Or D, most people aren't aware that a change in weather can affect their mood and energy level. Number 17. Which would be the best word or phrase to insert at the beginning of sentence 8 to link it to sentence 7? A, nevertheless. B, otherwise. C, in the same way. Or D, after all. Number 18. Which two sentences should be switched to organize the third paragraph better? A, sentences 10 and 11. B, sentences 11 and 12. C, sentences 15 and 16. Or D, sentences 16 and 17. Number 19. Which concluding sentence would best be added after sentence 17? A, most of all, you feel contentment as you drift off to a well-earned sleep. B, I'd rather be outside than indoors any day. C, it's hard to believe, but it's true. Or D, it wouldn't be everyone's cup of tea, but I thought it was a lot of fun. Directions. Identify the part of speech or term for the definition given. Number 20. A person, place, thing, or idea. A, noun. B, verb. C, adjective. Or D, adverb. Number 21. A word that takes the place of a noun in the sentence. A, noun. B, pronoun. C, preposition. Or D, adverb. Number 22. A word that expresses an action, condition, or state of being. A, noun. B, verb. C, adjective. Or D, interjection. Number 23. A word that describes or modifies a noun or pronoun. These words answer the questions: which one, what kind, or how many? A, preposition. B, conjunction. C, adjective. Or D, adverb. Number 24. A word that modifies or describes a verb, adjective, or an adverb. These words answer the questions: how, where, when, or to what extent. A, preposition. B, verb. C, adjective. Or D, adverb. Number 25. These words join thoughts, clauses, or sentences together. A, verb. B, conjunction. C, interjection. Or D, adverb. Number 26. These words express a sudden emotion. A, conjunctions. B, nouns. C, interjections. Or D, prepositions. Number 27. These words start a phrase that shows the relationship between a noun or pronoun and another word in the sentence. A, conjunction. B, preposition. C, adjective. Or D, adverb. Number 28. Vivid descriptions that appeal to the senses. A, hyperbole. B, imagery. C, similes. Or D, metaphors. Number 29. A comparison meant to show similarities between two different things using the words like or as. A. Imagery. B. Personification. C. Simile. Or D. Metaphor. Number 30. A comparison meant to show similarities between two different things that does not use the words like or as. A. Imagery. B. Personification. C. Simile. Or D. Metaphor. Number 31. Giving human characteristics to something non-human. A. Hyperbole. B. Personification. C. Simile. Or D. Imagery. Number 32. Exaggeration used for a humorous effect. A. Hyperbole. B. Personification. C. Simile. Or D. Metaphor. Number 33. Type of writing meant to convince someone to believe as you do or change the way something is done. A. Narrative. B. Expository. Or C. Persuasive. Number 34. Type of writing meant to provide information about a topic or explain a process. A. Narrative. B. Expository. Or C. Persuasive. Number 35. Type of writing meant to tell a story of some importance. A. Narrative. B. Expository. Or C. Persuasive. Number 36. Choose the best sentence that is correctly written with no errors or usage problems. A. Being as we write so much, many students got negative attitudes toward composition. B. The reason is because there is not enough discussion of literature. C. After this trimester, a great number of students will enjoy English class. D. Hopefully, there will be less students failing. Number 37. Choose the sentence that is correctly written with no errors or usage problems. A. The really bad students sometimes do good on the final. B. The students doing badly in the class sometimes do well on the final. C. The good students sometimes do bad on the final. D. The good students usually do good on the final. Number 38. Choose the sentence that is correctly written with no errors or usage problems. The invention of the home computer has had a huge effect on society. B. The effect of the home computer on society is great. C. The home computer affect the way we interact with the world. D. The home computer affects the way we interact with the world. Number 39. Choose the sentence that is correctly written with no errors or usage problems. A. I need you to borrow me some scissors. B. If you are done with them, would you loan me those scissors? C. After you have finished, would you lend me the scissors? D. I went to the bank, but they would not loan me any money. Number 40. Choose the sentence that is correctly written with no errors or usage problems. A. I wonder how many students are wishing they would have paid more attention in class. B. Hopefully, not many, being that they all studied for the test. C. If I could have studied for 10 more minutes, I would have gotten an A. D. Since you are prepared for the test, I am certain you are doing well. Number 41. Choose the sentence that is correctly written with no errors or usage problems. It is an honor to attend a school like Maryville High School. B. It is an honor to attend an A school like Maryville High School. C. It is an honor to attend an A school like Maryville High School. D. It is an honor to attend an A school like Maryville High School. Number 42. Choose the sentence that is correctly written with no errors or usage problems. A. After being sick for days, I finally felt all right. B. After being sick for days, I finally felt all right. C. After being sick for days, I finally felt all right. D. After being sick for days, I finally felt all right. Number 43. Choose the sentence that is correctly written with no errors or usage problems. A. I remembered fondly the last time we were together. B. After being questioned, the witness told an altogether different story. C. It was strange to find everyone all together after searching for hours. D. I confused what happened yesterday with an altogether different day. Number 44. Choose the sentence that is correctly written with no errors or usage problems. A. Irregardless of your excuse, you will still take the final today. B. The story you told earlier was different than the one you told yesterday. C. I accept your apology. D. Except for those who did not study, students should find this test easy. Number 45. Choose the sentence that is correctly written with no errors or usage problems. A. That was as fast as the student could run. B. 16 miles was all the farther I could run in the marathon. C. I ran until I could run no further. D. I laughed when I realized 55 miles per hour was all the faster the car would go. Directions. Identify the part of speech of the underlined word or words. Number 46. Without a care in the world, Maxine ran from store to store buying every fabulous item she could get her greedy hands on. A. Noun. B. Verb. C. Adjective. Or D. Adverb. Number 47. Without a care in the world, Maxine ran from store to store buying every fabulous item she could get her greedy hands on. A. Noun. B. Verb. C. Adjective. Or D. Adverb. Number 48. Without a care in the world, Maxine ran from store to store buying every fabulous item she could get her greedy hands on. A. Noun. B. Verb. C. Preposition. D. Pronoun. Number 49. Without a care in the world, Maxine ran from store to store buying every fabulous item she could get her greedy hands on. A. Noun. B. Verb. C. Adjective. D. Adverb. Number 50. Without a care in the world, Maxine ran from store to store buying every fabulous item she could get her greedy hands on. A. Noun. B. Pronoun. C. Adjective. D. Conjunction. Number 51. Students frequently are nervous for final exams, but they should have confidence that they will do well. A. Noun. B. Verb. C. Adjective. D. Adverb. Number 52. Students frequently are nervous for final exams, but they should have confidence that they will do well. A. Interjection, B. Preposition, C. Conjunction, or D. Adverb. Number 53. Students frequently are nervous for final exams, but they should have confidence that they will do well. A. Verb, B. Preposition, C. Conjunction, D. Adjective. Number 54. Students frequently are nervous for final exams, but they should have confidence that they will do well. A. Interjection, B. Noun, C. Preposition, or D. Adverb. Directions. Read the passage below and answer the questions that follow. Engineering Bridge to the 21st Century by Marcus Gibson. Bridge builders around the world are studying a brilliantly simple concept that may allow far longer spans to be built than previously possible. An intricate spider's web of cables can permit spans of 2 miles or more, says designer Gordon Rose, a British engineer who heads the London-based firm Rose Associates. Currently, the longest suspension bridge is the 1.25-mile central span of the Akashi Kaikyo Bridge near Kobe, Japan. Traditionally, long bridges are prone to wind and earthquake damage, so heavy decks and tall towers are required for strength and stiffness. Rose gets around that problem with a chain of 3-dimensional arches made from cabling, which creates a horizontal suspension mechanism resistant to wind and earthquake forces. The design, named SpaceWeb, is potentially cheaper than conventional suspension bridges. Huge, expensive piers are not required, and the roadway deck can be built outward one section at a time rather than using the cumbersome process of towing out sections on barges and lifting them into place, a process dependent on good weather, Rose says. He hopes SpaceWeb will be selected to replace San Francisco's earthquake-damaged Bay Bridge. The city's Golden Gate Bridge is already a major tourist attraction. My design would give the city 2 of the most innovative designs anywhere in the world, Rose says. Suspension bridge design has changed little since the Golden Gate was erected in the 1930s, although bridge lengths have grown steadily. But the SpaceWeb design would make it possible to bridge huge distances, Rose says, including the 53-mile Bering Strait between Russia and the United States. Sea depths there are only 160 feet and could be spanned by 20 SpaceWeb arches, Rose claims. Such a structure could change the course of history, he asserts. Number 55. Marcus Gibson's purpose for writing this article about SpaceWeb arches is probably A. To announce his brother's new design to the world, B. To inform the reader about new technology available for suspension bridges, C. To try and determine what the best kind of bridge is, D. To create a major tourist attraction. Number 56. Which of the following statements related to this passage is an opinion? A. Gordon Rose is a British engineer. B. Traditionally, long bridges are prone to wind and earthquake damage. C. Sea depths in the Bering Strait are only 160 feet. D. Such a structure could change the course of history. Number 57. The most important way the SpaceWeb bridges are superior to traditionally built bridges is that they A. Are heavier in weight and more solid, B. Can resist wind and earthquake forces better, C. Will allow barges to tow out sections, or D. Have been proven to last longer. Number 58. The reason the new method of creating suspension bridges is called SpaceWeb is A. Because its structure looks similar to a spider's web, B, because the technology is space age, C, because it covers a lot of space, or D, because the designer put his plans on the internet. Number 59. Space web bridges are easier to construct because A, the weather doesn't matter, B, the roadway can be built outward one section at a time, C, the depth of the water does not matter, or D, they are less expensive to construct. Number 60. In what way would construction of the space webs be less expensive than traditional bridges? A, they are a spider's web of cables. B, builders would not have to pay for barges to tow all of the sections to the bridge site. C, tourists would pay to see the bridge. Or D, the bridge would be less likely to be damaged by weather. Number 61. In the new bridge design, the tall towers and heavy decks needed in traditional suspension bridges would be replaced by A, huge piers, B, barges, C, cable arches, or D, golden gates. Number 62. Why does the bridge's designer hope that space webs will be chosen for San Francisco? A, the Golden Gate Bridge is very old. B, the San Francisco's Bay Bridge has been damaged. C, using space webs would give the city two unusual bridges. Or D, sea depths of the Bering Strait are only 160 feet. Number 63. Based on the sentence, the tree shook its branches angrily, you can infer A, the tree is magical, B, the tree is angry, C, it is windy, or D, the tree is alive. Number 64. Based on the sentence, the tree, sorry, wrong one. Number 64. Based on the sentence, the big full moon guided me through the forest, you can infer A, the moon is friendly, B, the moon gives good directions, C, the light from the moon was helpful, or D, the forest is too dark to navigate. Number 65. Based on the sentence, Mary was as sweet as pie, you can infer A, Mary has a sweet flavor when tasted, B, Mary is a nice person, C, Mary is unpleasant to talk to, D, no one likes Mary. Directions. Identify the type of figurative language used in each sentence. Number 66. The old car groaned as it made its way down the long open road. A, simile, B, metaphor, C, personification, or D, hyperbole. Number 67. I was so hungry that I even ate the plate. A, simile, B, metaphor, C, personification, or D, hyperbole. Number 68. Tom is like a computer when he does his math. A, simile, B, metaphor, C, personification, or D, hyperbole. Number 69. George is lightning as he runs the race. A, simile, B, metaphor, C, personification, or D, hyperbole. And your final question, number 70. The package took forever to arrive in the mail. A, simile, B, metaphor, C, personification, or D, Hyperbole. Congratulations, you are now finished with your final exam.